Okay, so week two, take two. So of course we had our meeting last night on Monday night at 7, and then we've got our second one, which is Tuesdays. So I'm going to cover the same subject, but also I've got another little extra that I wanted to go over with you, and any other questions, because since last night I've had a multitude of questions about cholesterol. And so I wanted to cover that a little bit because people are getting a little bit freaked out by it. So I just wanted to allay everyone's fears. Okay. All right. So first things first, let's go over gelatin, the beauties of dear gelatin. So I just wanted to go over this because I wanted to really cover this because, again, other questions. People have been asking me, why do you include gelatin in the program? And there's several very good reasons. So I thought I'd do a little bit more digging and diving, and so consequently we've come up with a few more reasons that I knew about but had forgotten about. So we're going to be diving deeply, or deeper, not deeply, because you'd be bored to tears probably if I go into all the chemical stuff and things that fascinate me hugely, but probably won't you. So I'm really just going to dive a little bit deeper into why I recommend gelatin for this challenge, but also on my other programs, and why I've been doing it. And I think I shared with you last week um, that I included gelatin because of its properties, but I'll just going to go into about why gelatin is so effective and why one of its component, glycine, is so important, such an important component. And so I'm going to go into this in quite a bit of detail, but I'm going to try and keep it joyful at the same time. Because, of course, our theme this week or this month, 30 days that we're together, is all about joy. And we're coming into the season of joy. So we're going to be ramping up the joyousness. Okay, right. So, so what is gelatin? So let's go into the basics. So gelatin is essentially cooked collagen. It's made from the connective tissues of animals, things like skin, tendons, and bones. When these tissues are gently cooked, the collagen breaks down and we end up with gelatin. Think your beef bone broth or your chicken broth, that lovely jelly-like substance that you end up with, that is in essence collagen, which is therefore gelatin. And so when we use a good quality gelatin powder, we are getting a concentrated source of the very amino acids our body uses to repair and build connective tissue, which of course supports joint health, strengthens the gut lining. Remember last week I was talking about the gut lining needing tight junctions to prevent unwanted food particles going into the bloodstream. Because after all, our digestive tract isn't actually part of our physical body. Now, I know you probably think, what do you mean? But basically, if you look at our digestive system, is a long tube that goes from the mouth to the anus. And nothing that isn't nutrients broken down should be going into our bloodstream through that gut lining. But what we're finding is happening, and this is where it's called leaky gut, but it's not just the gut. So it's not just the small intestine, the large intestine, and also other parts of the tube can get damaged. And so this is why gelatin is so important. And also it supports skin, hair, and nails. So when you see your humble packet of gelatin, it's not just a thickener for jelly. It's a traditional food that our grandparents, great-grandparents, and beyond used without even thinking about it. Think bone broth, stews with skin and gristle, slow-cooked meats. All of these were ways of getting collagen and therefore gelatin into our system to keep everything flowing beautifully. So now, one of the components of gelatin is glycine. And to be honest, I'm a little bit obsessed with glycine. because inside of gelatin is this one amazing amino acid. And so glycine does so many jobs, but the major ones are collagen building. It's a major building block for collagen. So it means support for your joints, ligaments, tendons, and your skin. When you are releasing weight, you want the skin to have as much support and flexibility as it can. So therefore it can it doesn't bounce back, but so it can come back a bit quicker than it would do without it. And also your body uses glycine to make a major antioxidant, glutathione. I'm going to go into that in much more detail. So glutathione is basically your internal cleanup crew, helping your liver and cells handle daily toxins much more gracefully than it would without. I'll go into that, as I said, in a minute. Also, as you can imagine, glycine supports the integrity of the gut lining. A calmer, stronger gut means better nutrient absorption, fewer inflammatory signals, and often much, much better digestion, especially over a period of time. Also, glycine helps to act as a nervous system calming signal. So what many people find is that when you've been taking gelatin of a nighttime, it helps you relax, unwind, and improve sleep quality. So, and of course, when you're less wired at night, you're less likely to end up going cravings and things like that. So basically, it's a really, really good drink. And I have just created a few extra recipes, which I'm going to post up to either this evening or tomorrow morning. It's in, I don't know if you saw, I put a few recipes in a file, which is called Gamma. And basically they're in there. And I will post them up as well, though, so you can see them in the group. So basically that is what glycine is. And so why does this matter? Especially for us on this program. And so this matters because it's not just about having better joints and better skin. As I said, it's really good for sleep, really good for your stress levels, brings down inflammation by supporting your gut lining and not allowing all those little food particles into your body, which can cause huge inflammatory system, and also joint comfort. So this is why it's a really, really important component. If you've got comfortable joints, then you're going to move more. You're more likely to take the stairs, go for that extra walk, and stand instead of collapsing onto the nearest chair or stool. And that little gentle extra movement adds up. Getting my words in the muddle. So now I want to highlight the glutathione part. So glycine in gelatin is one of the main ingredients your body needs to make glutathione. So glutathione is called the master antioxidant, and it's a master antioxidant for a very good reason. Glutathione is made in your liver, but to have it made in your liver, you need certain components to make it in the first place, and glycine is one of the major components that will help you make glutathione. And so glutathione helps you break down toxins, chemicals, and everyday metabolic waste. Plus, it also is a major antioxidant recycler. So when you're having other antioxidants, then glutathione makes them even more effective. So it's really, really important for us it's actually being proven to be a really important anti-aging tool. So when glutathione levels are low, or when glycine is low, and so therefore glutathione levels get low, your body becomes more inflamed, more reactive, and more stressed. And what do bodies do when they feel stressed? They hold on to fat for protection. Here is where gelatin really shines. Most modern diets give us a lot of methionine from muscle meats, but very little glycine. Without enough glycine, your body can struggle to make enough glutathione, even if everything else is working well. And I'm just going to dive into a little bit about methionine and glycine and why it's so important. In our modern lives, we tend to go for the quick foods. Think your delicious steak. In our ancestors, when we ate animals, we ate the whole animal, going back to slow cooking with the skin, tendons, and bones, connective tissue, which meant we naturally got a lot of glycine along with our protein. In our modern world, most people only eat muscle meats, steak, mince, which is often lean mince, chicken breast. These foods are very high in methionine. Now, there's nothing wrong with methionine per se, but when methionine and glycine are out of balance, they no longer work as a team. And you need both for detoxification, gut repair, collagen formation, and calming the nervous system. So, where am I? Oh, I just lost my train of thought. And so we need glycine to bring the balance. And that is where gelatin comes in. It helps to really step in and bring glycine that is missing from modern diets. So it doesn't mean that you have to give up your steak or you have to go traditional nose to tail balance. It means that you have gelatin, then it brings methionine and glycine into balance, so everything goes beautifully. So your detox pathways open, glutathione rises, inflammation comes down, nervous system calms, and weight release becomes much easier because the body isn't stressed or overwhelmed. This is why gelatin isn't just a nice addition. It is really actually restoring your biochemical matrix. And so consequently, it's a wonderful, wonderful tool. When we even when we finish this challenge, please keep using gelatin. And so this is another slide just going into methionine and glycine and how gelatin brings the glycine back. It's basically to hit it home in a way. So if you don't want to use gelatin, it is really important that you use slow cooking methods, bone in with gristle, with the cartilage, and that way every day. So if you're doing that, that's great. If you're doing, say, beef bone broth, that's fantastic. But it does take quite a lot more effort than having 2 tablespoons of gelatin a day. And so when we're bringing back the glycine, then our body starts to becoming as healthy as we can possibly be. Now, it's not an overnight success, but the successes are really, really quite amazing. So if we look at the benefits that you may notice, again, your joints feel more supported. So in actual fact, they have found that if you do this on a regular basis for quite some time, you really can rebuild cartilage. Also, your skin looks smoother and healthier. And so as you reduce weight, you're less likely to have more saggy skin. You will have saggy skin for a bit, but it will bounce back quicker. And so what I've noticed as well on carnivore forums, I don't know if any of you belong to carnivore forums, but I've noticed that a lot of people are complaining about having crepey skin. And I believe the reason that they've got the crepey skin, and a lot of them are talking about this in their 30s and 40s, it's not as if they're getting on a bit in years, but basically it's because they sort of haven't got the glycine mix, methionine mix right, because so many people are saying, oh, you can just eat steak and you can just eat butter and you'll be fine. Not quite, but you know. meat's better than nothing. But basically, so, and also your central nervous system really starts calming down. And one of our members talked about carnivore calm. This is one of the main reasons I believe we get the carnivore calm, is because we're getting the nutrients right. And if you get the calm, of course, then you sleep better. And I know many people from last night were talking about sleeping a bit better, not back to sleeping all through the night, but sleeping much better. And so if they do wake up, they tend to get back off to sleep better. I've also got a good post that I'm going to be posting in the next couple of days about how maybe, just maybe, we're not supposed to sleep all through the night. And that's all based on circadian rhythms and things. And so I'm not going to say any more about that. But basically, I'm going to talk about that in the next few days. And so also, gelatin can really help when you're feeling a bit wobbly, especially on the first few weeks of a program where your blood sugars need time to settle. Gelatin can really, really help with intermittent fasting. And the reason is because you've got the good nutrients to help bring everything into balance. And so it makes your fasting windows much more comfortable. And when you do go into more fasting, and I'm going to talk about fasting next week more, and basically when you do more fasting, gelatin's going to be a great tool for you, whether you're fasting or when the lead up to a fast. So basically it makes you feel like you're sated, and it's very subtle, but very powerful. So when you feel nourished, the whole body feels safer. And so when the whole body feels safer, then what's the body going to do? Release the weight. So when you're stressed, of course, we hang on. I know I harp on about this, but I just have to, really. So not everyone will feel every benefit immediately. These are the shifts people notice most often. It's your body saying thank you for finally giving it what it's needed for a long time. And so, like everything, when we're healing, the body will prioritize what it needs to heal first. And so gelatin will be doing that. It'll be healing the tight junctions in the gut first. So that's normally the most important. And then it'll become joints. And then it becomes skin and hair. Skin and hair will always be the last because the body doesn't prioritize them. So if you've been having falling hair, or if you find your skin isn't as elastic as it needs to be, and you're using gelatin, and you can say this stuff doesn't work, or you can just realize that basically the body is prioritizing other things in your body to make sure that everything functions well. Okay. How do you use gelatin? So that, it's basically easy, gelatin. It really is easy to use. And so you could have it as an evening gelatin drink. I've provided, as I say, a couple of recipes for evening drinks. And I can't remember. I think it was, no, I can't remember. Cheryl that mentioned about Joy Tea by Pacatis. I don't know, was it, it wasn't you? Someone's talked about joy tea. I thought it was very relevant because we're focusing on joy. So I made a jelly with it. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. And so that's a recipe. So you can make a warming drink out of it, or you can make jellies out of it. And so what I do is I make my whatever I'm going to make jelly out, whether it's lemon juice or whether it's tea or whether it's peppermint oil to make gummies. It's really easy. Do not throw gelatin into boiling water. It ends up with being a horrible, slimy mess. So what you do is you get your gelatin, your powder. I normally do my 2 tablespoons. I normally pop that into a small amount of the liquid, cool though, a small amount of cool liquid. So if you're doing tea, do some some water or some lemon, and then you put your gelatin in, you stir it, and you let it what they call bloom, so it thickens, and then you add your hot water or your hot tea, or whatever, and you stir it, and then you won't have any problem with lumps and clumps. And so basically they're great. So you can make gummies. So I was talking about it last night, is I made gummies with just water, distilled water, and a drop or two of peppermint oil. Now that's really nice because they're really you can make them really chewy. So 2 tablespoons of gelatin with up to 400 mils of water. Some of it hot and some of it cold. Some of it cold. Put the gelatin in, let it bloom, and then basically stir the rest hot in. Put it in molds, however you want to do it. I just put it in a tray and cut it up. But you add a drop of peppermint oil. I do 1 drop at a time. Now, if you can not have anything like stevia or anything, that's best, because the even non-sugar sweeteners can raise your blood sugars. So it's best if you can leave it out. So, and then basically with peppermint oil, add 1 drop, stir it, and have a taste. And make sure, because you can't take peppermint oil out once you've done it, because it can be incredibly strong. So 1 drop at a time. I use doTERRA because they're edible, but you can get other edibles as well. So edible essential oils. So they're normally the best quality you can get. And so also you can use gelatin by sprinkling it into sauces and soups. So you can do that. You can add it into your coffee even. You can add it into anything. And it just adds a slight texture to your drink. It's slightly smoother and velvety, if you like to get it into using adjectives. Is it adjectives? Yeah. So basically, descriptive words, like they do with wine, you can enthuse about it. And so I have got some other recipes that I'm not going to share with you because they contain foods that you're not allowed to have on this stage. So like pizzas and things like that, and breads and stuff, which is made, they're carnival breads, but they're still best not to have at this stage in your journey. Right, next. Now we have to be mindful is some people, very, very few, are sensitive to everything, and gelatin is no exception. So what I would feel that you could do is start with a very small dose. Start with a couple of teaspoons and work your way up. And make sure you're drinking enough water. Make sure you're getting your minerals well, and notice how you're feeling. And so if it feels off, if you feel bloated, or if you get wind or whatever, ease back, or take a break from it, or talk to me in Q&A and we can tweak it for you. There is no one size fits all in anything in health. And this program is no exception, although I do know that it's actually, we don't get many people having problems with it, but there's always going to be one. And if it's you, that's great, because I love to dive into detective mode. So there's always a reason behind why something isn't working for you. So if you're finding that the scales have got stuck, the scales aren't moving, there'll be a reason behind that. And so we can strategize what's right for you. So that's what the group's for. That's what these calls are for as well. So the other thing I really want to bring back is link this to joy, because when we're feeling joyful and we have that evening ritual with warm gelatin drink, maybe 5 minutes to yourself, and feeling grateful for it, your nervous system received that as safety. So not only do you feel better because you're feeling joyful, but also it changes your chemistry. So you're less likely to have a problem with food. And also, if you're feeling grateful, then gelatin can have a much bigger effect than if you were just feeling a bit down. Now, I know it's not easy to be happy-dappy all the time, but if you raise your frequency, by being grateful, then that becomes habitual. And so then you keep on raising your frequency. So as you play with this, just play it, make it play. No rules. Let it be a small, nourishing act of kindness towards your body. That is the energy that really creates change within your body. That and the drops, of course. So, okay. So, I would love to hear any questions from you. And so I'm going to stop sharing. And I've seen there's a couple of chats, but I don't know. Cheryl, I have crepey skin. Using an oil mix to support my body to change. That plus the jellies daily. Well, don't forget, Cheryl, you've also been through a major operation. And so what do you think your body is going to be prioritizing when you're taking your gelatin and you're doing all this nutritious food?
It's doing all my tissue and muscle and tendon repair that they all cut through.
Yeah. And
And
don't
my
forget,
impatience is
how many weeks ago did you have that operation?
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
And I'm walking without crutches already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did,
I'm way ahead of the 8 ball, the
yeah.
physio said. Yeah.
And so that is magical. So you
Mm.
can also visualizing doing, you're spending your time as you're out walking, visualizing not having crepey skin and
Yeah.
visualizing your body repairing super duper quickly
And
because it will.
the other thing I've been doing, Karen, is the dry brushing towards my
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
And I
Fantastic.
think that combination has really contributed a lot because after the surgery, my skin was really dry, and I just put it down to all the chemicals my body was processing because your skin's one of the first things to complain.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's starting to shift now. So it's really good.
So dry brushing is so effective.
Mm,
So in case you don't know about dry brushing, you get a natural bristle brush. Do not use a nylon brush. Natural bristle brush you can get from quite a few places nowadays. But start from the soles of your feet and brush always towards your heart. So on your arms, you brush there towards the heart, and under your arms, and brush towards the heart and down. Don't use the hard one on your face, but you can use a gentle one on your face, but it has to be natural bristle. And that way it's not just helping your skin, it's helping your lymphatic fluid as well. And the lymphatic fluid is basically your dumping ground for toxins that the bodies get eliminating. And so by doing the skin brushing, and you do it on dry skin, and you can do it for as long as you like. I often used to get clients when we were dealing with incurable diseases, if they could cope with it, we used to get them to do it until the skin was glowing red and they felt the circulation really moving. And then we used to either get them to have a shower or go in the sauna. And so basically it's getting everything really, really moving. And yeah, because the skin's our biggest elimination organ, and we often forget it. And yeah, so now, Kate, can you have gelatin and ginger tea? Yes, indeed, you can. So one of my recipes that I've shared in the thing is ginger, making a decoction of ginger. So you get your ginger root, don't peel it, just chop it up, chuck it in the thing, and get a good size piece of ginger, chop it up roughly, leave the skin on, pop it in a pot, put about 500 mils, 700 mils of water, simmer for 20 minutes. Now, the reason you do that is because it takes about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes to get all of the chemicals that are hugely beneficial from the ginger into the liquid. Then, of course, you strain it and you can either make jellies with it or you can put it in ice cube containers and then pop a couple of ice cubes and pour boiling water and you've got ginger tea. It's a nice, easy one, but it's also a really effective one. So ginger is incredibly good as an anti-inflammatory, and it also helps with digestion, and it it's really, really good for seasickness. So if you're going on the water over the holidays and you do suffer with a queasy stomach, then take yourself a flask with a few, you could put the jellies in there. You can put the jelly and ginger tea in there and have a lovely warm drink that you can take before you go out and also while you're on the water. Hugely beneficial, and especially for kids. With kids, you might need to sweeten it a little bit, maybe with a little bit of stevia. But basically, that is such a yummy, yummy way of getting that nausea gone. But any nausea, actually. So if you're feeling nausea from something else, then ginger tea is beneficial. So hope that helps with that. Okay. Cheryl, I take liver tablets daily because I don't eat offal. Yes, that would support the balance. With the liver tablets, it's much more the other minerals and iron and that sort of thing that is hugely beneficial. Doesn't have as much glycine in as the connective tissue. It's the connective tissue per se that has most glycine in. And so, yeah, I know you're doing broth and things. So many people ask me is what's the difference between beef bone broth and chicken broth? Apart from taste, I personally love chicken broth. I do not love beef bone broth. And so consequently, that's why I encourage you to do gelatin now, because gelatin is like beef bone broth. So if we look at chicken broth and beef bone broth, chicken broth contains type 2 collagen and also glucosamine, chondroitin, and hyaluronic acid. Great anti-inflammatory. So if you've had any hips or bone issues, you've probably heard of glucosamine and chondroitin. And if you've had any skin things, you've probably heard of hyaluronic acid. It's actually a really great way of getting those nutrients in. So that's chicken broth. Beef bone broth and or gelatin contains type 1 and type 3 collagen. This is particularly good for connective tissue building and gut healing and those sorts of things. And so having all three of those collagens is hugely, hugely beneficial. What does the lemon and lime jelly do to the limes do to the jelly? Well, it just makes it much more edible, I would say. And also lemon is really great for cleansing the liver and cleansing the kidneys. And so if you put a little bit of the zest of lemon into your jellies, then if you do it when that's warm, you make that warm, then you're going to get more benefits as well because oh, for goodness sake, I can't remember what it's called now. That's in the skin and the pith of citrus. Oh, it was very prevalent during COVID. It was one of the cures of COVID. I can't remember what it's called now. It'll come to me. But it's very useful anyway. It's antibacterial and all of that. So, okay. You're quite right, Julia. It makes it yummy. Okay. Actually, Julia, you might be able to help with this. Our resident medium. As for skin, anything else you can recommend for crepey skin?
Besides the fact that we touched on frankincense that time, and then I was getting also, Cheryl, for you to add castor oil into your mix that you've got as well. I don't know what this does, Karen, and it's one I also got told to suggest to Cheryl. But I keep being told myrrh.
Yeah.
And that's happened several times now, but I don't know what that does. I'll get the information and you can explain it.
Thanks very much. So myrrh is a very special essential oil, you know, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So frankincense and myrrh are a wonderful combination to add to skin. And also myrrh is the most amazing antibacterial. So really, really useful. Used to use it for toothache before clove came along. So you used to be able to get myrrh gum. And what they used to use is they used to use myrrh gum as a filling. So when someone had toothache, they used to put myrrh into the tooth to prevent abscessing and prevent pain. And so myrrh was, and it used to go hard. So it used to be like much, much better than the amalgam fillings that we get, that's for sure. So no heavy metals here. So yeah. So as for the skin, I think it's got an antioxidants for the skin. I'm not an expert in that. Anyone else who knows more about essential oils, that'd be fantastic. So I've developed sensitive skin over the past 2 weeks. Any suggestions to help? Well, as it happens, yes. So basically, there's a few things you can do for sensitive teeth. Is MSM powder. MSM powder you can get from any health shop. It's basically a sulfur powder, and you can either make a mouthwash. So a mouthwash it's about a tablespoon of MSM powder with about 150 mils of water. Dissolve it and rinse your mouth out. You can add some peppermint oil to it or any other essential oil you like the taste of. Some people find peppermint a little bit too strong, but you could use fennel or something like that and gargle with it. And also dip your toothbrush into the MSM powder as well. So get your favorite toothpaste, whatever it might be, and dip it in there. And also what I've been using as well, I don't have sensitive teeth, but I've been experimenting with it. And you might have seen I did a post on borax a while ago, but I've mixed MSM powder and borax together, and I've been dipping my toothbrush in that as well. And it seems to be doing all right. So if you've got sensitive teeth, I'd be really interested to find out if borax helps, because I do believe it might. So that's teeth. Another one's got to go, Barney. Barney, nice to see you. Nice. I think she's gone already. Kate, we'll try it. Good. If you haven't got any, let me know and I'll get some to you. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you got all of it. And any other questions that anyone's got? Now, Samantha, you did ask a question, didn't you, at the top? Hang on. Just go through everything. Oh, energy waning. Okay. So, Samantha.
Yes.
What day are you on?
Day 9?
9. Okay, right. So did you find you had a spike of energy and then the energy's gone down a bit? Or that you
not really. It's kind of been the same. But I find it quite hard because I'm a breakfast girl, so I'm finding it quite hard not eating until 11 a.m.
Okay. So what you can do, Samantha, is you can change your eating window. Okay. So for example, if 9 a.m. suits you, then just your eating window goes from 9 till 7 or 8 till 6.
Mm-hmm.
You can adapt it to you to make sure it fits, but just 2 meals a day though still.
Yeah.
And if you get hungry in between, have some jelly.
Okay.
Because I think you'll find that you might. Have you been doing jelly?
I've just done it once.
Okay. So do it consistently. So do jelly every day, everyone. I'm not just talking to Samantha here. I'm talking to everyone, because it will make a big, big difference to not just aches and pains, not just the things I've been talking about, but it can really, really help with your energy as well. Because basically, if you think of it's a protein, and so it's going to give you energy. And so what we might have to do, Samantha, if you do those first, but we might have to increase your levels of fat because you might be needing more fat than others. So let's just do that to start with. Change your eating so that it matches your rhythm.
Okay.
And then we'll see how your energy goes, and you can add more gelatin, add the gelatin in. And then if that doesn't do the trick, then message me and we will assess where your fat is and what we need you to have, because there's always a reason why our energy isn't going in the way we want it to go. And so it's really, I'm glad you asked, because it's an important question, because the object of the exercise is to feel good, not to feel tired. Now, sometimes you do get tired naturally because you're doing a lot, or you might be doing something, and I don't know if this is, that you're not very happy doing in life. So there's nearly always a reason why we lose energy. And so, Julia?
Just typing my answer away there.
I
Yes.
knew you were, so I thought, right, I'll get you to talk.
Oh yeah, because I muted somebody for typing just before. Karen's boost drops. I remember when I started back on years ago on her program, and would sometimes start feeling this dip as well. Basically the same conversation she had with me that she's had with you. So we did up my fat, but boost drops also made a massive difference when it was that time as well.
Okay.
Great little powerhouse.
Yeah.
I'll delete my and stop typing.
Yeah, you even have to type it now. It's recorded for posterity. So, well, for this time anyway. Awesome.
Yeah.
Does that answer, Sam? Anything else you want to just sort of, anything else that's come up while that came up?
No, that all sounds great. Thank you. I'll give it all that a go.
Okay, fantastic. Awesomely awesome. Okay.
So I have a question, Karen. Sorry, I'm driving, but I stopped. Can we use this gelatin twice a day?
Yeah, 2 tablespoons a day though of gelatin powder. Of gelatin powder, not made up gelatin, jelly, but gelatin powder. Yeah. So you can have it twice a day. I recommend having it with meals if possible. So we're trying to keep the eating in 2 tranches if we can. So you can have it for dessert with lunch and maybe before dinner or whatever. So whatever works for you. So yes, you can.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. So Cheryl, forgot to have your drops before lunch today. Yeah, wait 15-20 minutes after eating, and then it's best not to have them immediately after food. So there's no rhyme or reason. I just feel that it's better if you give it a bit of a break in between. I used to say 20 minutes before or after food. So not have anything. So, but I found that having water before it's fine. You know, it's just after. Yeah. Awesome. Magic. Okay, lovelies. Any more questions? Anything else anyone wants to say? It doesn't have to be questions. It might be something that you've achieved or delighted by or disappointed by, or there's no judgment here. So no? Okay, right. Okay. Right. Then we are done for today. And so please don't forget to chat in the group, to ask questions, share your wins, and okay, one more question then. Kate, could you please confirm how much gelatin a day? Yes, 2 tablespoons of gelatin powder per day is the recommended amount. So you're getting enough glycine to help counteract the methionine and also to enjoy it. So the idea is to really enjoy this process. Enjoy your food, enjoy every mouthful, enjoy your drinks, enjoy every little taste that you have, and enjoy your life. That's the main thing. And let's face it, if you're healthy, we tend to enjoy our lives much more. Cheryl?
Just on that, the jellies that I make up, that makes a dozen from 2 tablespoons of gelatin. So I'm not going to eat a dozen jellies in a day. Julia and I did some work, and my body requires 3 jellies a day to contribute to all its internal processing. So if I just wanted to stick to that, that would still be beneficial opposed to
if it works for you. Now it might change over
yeah.
time. So maybe
Okay.
having a check-in with Julia every so often to check to see if the amount of gelatin has increased or decreased. But I tend to use the measure of 2 tablespoons of gelatin just because I did the ratios with the
Yes.
average protein intake and the average glycine intake. So that's how I worked that out years ago.
And I could mix it up by doing a tablespoon of gelatin drink, like that ginger you were talking about, and then have my 3 jellies at night.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can really mix it up. So how I do my gelatin is I tend to do it in lemon drink after my lunch.
Right.
And I put it all in there because I forget to make jellies because I get so busy. Not that it takes a long time, I just forget. And so by the time I remember it, it's evening.
My jellies are my full stop. Food done for the day. Jellies done,
great.
food done.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a great way of doing it. So, yes, you can definitely have a drink after lunch or before lunch or whenever you feel like. And then you can have your jelly after dinner. And so, that's a sort of like it's a dessert, isn't it? It's your dessert. And that's just makes us feel, sated.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a dessert person.
See, I'm just lazy, so that's why I do the lemon drink. And I don't have much interest in food. And since I lived in Japan, so sometimes I don't want to eat, like I'm just not. So then I'll have a bone broth or a lemon drink. And then I can move on with my day.
Yeah. And
I broke up with my toaster and fell in love with my jug.
Oh, I love it. That's a really nice one, actually. I must use that. I'm going to use that as a Julia quote.
Sorry, Karen, one more question I forgot to ask.
Yeah.
Can we have bone broth between meals? Drink?
A broth between meals or a drink?
Yes. Drink.
Oh, drink between meals, yes. So you can have herbal teas and stuff like that, absolutely.
No. Bone broth drink.
Okay, if you're doing a bone broth, I would recommend trying to have it as close to eating as possible.
Sorry, Karen,
Okay, did you get that?
I didn't get it, sorry. I stopped
Okay,
now.
so I recommend that if we're having nutrients, so whether it's gelatin, whether it's bone broth or anything else, have it within that sort of hour of lunch, dinner.
I got it, okay. Yes. Okay, thanks.
The reason for that is because although we're doing intermittent fasting, and so we have this non-eating window between 11 and 8 or 9 and 6 or whatever, so we've got that time where we're not eating. But if we have, say, lunch at 6, lunch at 12 and dinner at 7, you've got 6 hours or so of fasting in between meals as well. So it's giving your body time to repair. So it's giving your body time and space. However, if you are starving hungry, and you're likely to go off your eating plan, then definitely have some broth at say 4 o'clock or whatever. Don't sort of do it to sabotage yourself. However, if you can, try and stick to that rule.
Okay, will do. Thanks, Karen.
That makes sense, everyone? Okay. Awesomely awesome. Okay. Right. Glad to have hung around for those questions. So that's absolutely fantastic. So thank you, ladies, for joining us. And thank you for listening to the recording. If you're listening to the recording, have a magical week and look forward to hearing from you in the group and seeing you next week. Have fun. Lots of love. Bye
Thank
for now.
you. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.